What's up, everybody? It's Skullman here, bringing you another Skullman Reads. Today, I'm gonna be reading Fluttershy Makes Out with a Bowl of Soup. I hope it's good soup. And the author of this story is named Yay Flutters. So, this story was just real popular, I guess. It has 5 likes and 4 comments, so it's fucking amazing. And only 20 views. I don't know. But I'll do a, basically, do this guy a favor and just read this, so, yep. So, yeah! Let's go ahead and get the story started. Links in the description if you want to read along. And, yeah. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get the story started.
It was beautiful outside. The sun was shining down, rays of sunlight seeping through the windows. A blue sky with no clouds in sight. The temperature outside was perfect. Not too warm, not too cold. The bunnies and squirrels played with each other, running around the fields and hiding in the bushes. Overall, the day was absolutely perfect. Well, to any other pony, I actually enjoyed the time when it was cold. It lets me wear all sorts of nice clothing. Sweaters, scarves, even some cute socks. I always got strange looks whenever I walk around with my socks on, mostly from the stallions around Ponyville. All I could really do was smile at them and walk away, continuing on with whatever business I had to do. Whenever I got home, I would take off my sweater and scarf almost immediately. I didn't want to warm myself up too much. That wouldn't be good at all. I kept my socks on though. They're always so comfy. I always make sure to check on all my little critter friends to make sure that they all were okay. None of them were sick, and they...
Fuck. It's glare! It's glare!
I always make sure to check on all my little critter friends to make sure that they were alright. None of them were sick, and that they were fed and everything. Then, I would always go to the kitchen and prepare a nice, warm bowl of soup. Oh, soup. I really love soup. The steam it produces, the lovely smell, the absolutely fantastic taste. There's nothing I don't love about soup. The color, the many different types of soup. I really should stop before I get into too much detail. Thought I wouldn't mind talking more about it. But really, I'm sure no pony is interested in my love of soup. Anyways, just like any other day, I trotted happily to my kitchen, looking about the cabinets and eventually looking at the special pot I always used to prepare my soup. That pot and I had been through a lot together, and if you looked at it long enough, you could really tell. It had begun to prepare my soup, bringing up a stool so that I could watch it closely. I had to make sure it was perfect, and I watched the beautiful liquid inside the pot patiently. I started swaying my tail from side to side as I waited, almost as if I was wagging my tail happily. It looked so delicious. I almost couldn't wait for the fun I had planned, and nearly grabbed the pot right there. However, I knew that everything had to be absolutely perfect, so I sat almost perfectly still on the wooden stool. Before long, it was done, and I turned off the heat, placing the pot onto the counter and pulling a bowl from one of my cupboards. I didn't grab any silverware, because with what I had planned, I didn't need a spoon. My mane, my hooves, my tongue, and my mouth would suffice. I had prepared a single bowl of soup for myself, and I smiled as I looked down into it, seeing my own reflection. All I needed now was a little bit of privacy, and everything would be just fine. I carefully picked up the bowl and flew into the dining room, setting it gently on the large mahogany table. I looked around to my windows, making sure the windows were closed and the blinds were as well. I checked around the cottage to see if any of the critters were still there, and upon finding none, I flew back in the dining room and sat down. I stared into the bowl, smiling as I observed its contents. It was a simple tomato soup, nothing more than a warm red sauce of the average observer, but I was able to see much more in the soup. I saw a very delicious, even somewhat attractive red liquid, one that I was very eager to enjoy as much as I could. Taking one last look around to make sure no pony or no critter could see me, I licked my lips, and I looked down towards the soup. I started with a simple dip of my mane into the liquid, and I shivered as I pulled my mane back out of it, lifting the soaked strands up to my mouth and licking them, sucking the lovely red juice out. I dipped my hoof into the bowl shortly afterwards, drenching it in the tomato soup. As I lifted it back up, I smiled at the few drops that fell from my hoof, and I licked at my hoof as well. It tasted so wonderful. It's hard to describe. I don't think I had ever tasted a soup as good as that one. I placed my entire hoof in my mouth, drinking as much as I could of the liquid as I possibly could. Once I tasted nothing more from my hoof, I stared back down into the bowl, eager for what was to come next. I lowered my muzzle into the tomato soup, and I sat still for a few moments, enjoying the feeling of the soup around me. Oh, I wish that I could just bathe in this. Sadly, I would never be able to prepare that much soup. My tongue had escaped my mouth, and I began to swirl it around, tasting the soup as my tongue passed gently through it. I licked the bottom of the bowl and closed my eyes, lifting up the bowl of soup so that it would be able to face me. Some of it had even managed to spill out of the bowl and into my legs. Something I did not mind at all. Of course, in the middle of all this fun, I realized something. I had forgotten to lock my door earlier, and as if by some stroke of absolutely great luck, the realization had come too late. I heard a knocking on the aforementioned door, and subsequently the sound of the door being forced open. I shifted my eyes to the side, still holding on to my bowl, and stared in horror at who had forced themselves into my home. It was all 5 of my close friends, Pinky, Twilight, Rainbow, Rarity, Applejack. They were all there to witness my rather questionable hobby. I could do nothing more than stare at them as my tongue attempted to clean what little soup was left in the bowl, most of it already spilled onto the floor and my body. "Fluttershy?" Twilight sparkled. The lavender unicorn and one of my closest friends was the first to speak up. No sound was made for the next half-minute, as I stared at them and them at me. What broke the silence was the blue Pegasus Rainbow Dash bursting into a fit of laughter and rolling around on the floor. "Oh, Fluttershy, you never told any of us about this! Just what were you doing, darling?" The white unicorn, my friend Rarity, was next to speak. Out of all 5 of them, she seemed to be the most bewildered by my actions. Pinkie Pie and Applejack didn't have any words for what they had just seen, and so they chose to remain silent, simply watching everything unfold in front of them. I placed the bowl back onto the table, licking my lips once again before I managed to get a few words out. I was enjoying some soup." "Ah. Okay." That was a pretty good story. I liked it. I like that story. "Oh God, what did I do?" "Well, Mr. Author, you just wrote a story. A random comedy, I'm pretty sure. So, yep. Good story, eh, Flutter?" Yep. That's pretty much all I have. That's pretty much all I have today. So, I'll probably come out with another story shortly. So, stay tuned for that, guys. So, basically, what the fuck? Comment the video down below, like it, and add it to your favorites. Subscribe to become awesome today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everybody. It was a cold, chilling fear for me, and I put my ear to your mouth and my hoof to your soft chest. I didn't hear anything, Pinky. heart was still, and your body was cold.
Butterflies don't fly in her cloud home, and she'd never been near the ground before. She sang. What is this place filled with so many wonder? Oh, fuck me! I know this song!